Tired of all the fun and entertainment in your gaming television? Then we've got the hardcore program that strips the fun off of the games and focuses on what's really important.
Sexism in gaming.
The fun stops here.
Hey everyone, Randolf here. Something very different today, huh? Well, hopefully this will be a one-time thing and I won't be transitioning into these kinds of videos. I do have a good chunk of video ideas in your gray matter waiting to be made. I'm still working on part 3 of the THQ WWE retrospective, hence the wrestling game playing in the background. It's just that this topic has been on my mind after watching a few YouTubers reacting to it, and dear lord, the urge to make a video rose to the breaking point. So here we are. Now for the shock of the century. A person on the age of around 40 grew up with G4 and holds in a special place in their heart. I know, a rarity to be sure. But to be serious, it was unique and special back then, almost like a godsend when I found it during a random flip through the guide. Back then, there wasn't much, or any at all, video game related content on TV when I was young. There was stuff like Starcade and Nick Arcade, game shows revolving around video games, but one was before I was born, and the other was aired when I was born. G4 had plenty of bangers like Cinema Attack, Judgment Day, and Icons. And it wasn't until weeks before G4's merger with Tech TV that I was introduced to X-Play on another random chance, which I fell in love with. Even if I still prefer Judgment Day overall, since X-Play, admittedly, can be hit or miss. Then after the merger, more and more gaming shows disappeared, the channel having a focus more on geek culture in general, and brought in good foreign shows like Ninja Warrior aka Sasuke and Brainiac Science Abuse. But the cops and cheaters syndication overran the network as time passed. The geek stuff slowly died off, and I jumped off ship around the time they hired this tool for X-Play. It felt like a long time since I watched before when I heard news of the channel's death. It would have been sad, but by then gaming was an easy to find topic on YouTube, and the channel was far from its original state by that time, so it was hard to care. But there are still plenty of memories and good times that won't be forgotten. I'll never forget them introducing me to James Rolfe, an inspiration of mine, via a random Attack of the Show episode when the TMNT 3 review was brand new. And with all that said, holy shit, I feel so damn old right now. Anyway, I heard of X-Play returning in 2020, 2021, even spotted a video in the recommended with Mighty Keith in it. But the excitement wasn't there. Like I suggested, G4 kinda lost its place now that there are many creators across the web that could give what G4 had and more. Not to mention the knowledge of how much of a toxic nutcase Adam Cecil is plays into it as well. People surprised about his latest tweets about Republicans being shit, should eat and drink shit and piss, are the NZs, etc. Yeah, that's not exactly new, especially with his infamous doxing comment while sharing the same booth with Jim Sterling.
What the is your problem?
Hell, he got fired from another online channel for his nut job attitude. But I'll say him wanting Republican family members dead is a new one.
Well, it's finally happened, and I've completely gone crazy! At least, that's what the demons in my head keep telling me. But I'll show them who's crazy!
I guess Movie Bob now has a kindred spirits who have no qualm for killing those who disagree with them politically. Hell, they'll block people for mildly disagreeing with them or comment about just wanting to talk about video games.
And when I went in to complain, Adam threw an ashtray at my head. Another satisfied customer!
It really ruins everything with him because I remember watching his senseless soapbox and enjoying them heavily. But then again, he was more reasonable when it was Republicans going after video games, and now that it's his side doing it via sexism and other bigotry, it's totally not the same, guys. Speaking of which, the actual video in question. So one of the new G-Force hosts, Frosk or something, I'm very bad at pronunciations, especially with either foreign or dumbass names, was going on about Red Dead Redemption 2 having zero support from Rockstar Games. Kind of an obvious take, but hey, feels like the MO for the new G4, until this suddenly happened.
But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online. Sexism in gaming.
Ah boy, here we go.
In joining G4...
This is not where I thought we were going.
No one did, Gerard. No one did. I feel more sorry for him now, and when this goes belly up, than Frosk, the token black guy trying to hype up his statements, or Adam clapping like a seal in the background.
In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels, even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us, I can see you, without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous hosts. It's somehow...
Talk to him, Frosk!
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment.
That
It's
shit
not
weird.
a compliment.
It's weird.
It's dehumanizing and it's weird.
I'm so glad that you're giving power to the trolls, because that's what they are, trolls, or people trying to get a rise out of you. Congratulations, you took the bait. This long with the internet, with social media, with this attitude of don't feed the trolls, and people are still surprised about these kinds of comments. When did ignoring these kinds of assholes on the internet stop being a thing? Or do these kinds of people rely on these trolls to push a message? But here's the thing. X-Play back in the day also gave these people attention. Remember all the anime fanboy bashing, mainly with Dragon Ball? The On the X-Play board song? The obsessive/jealous fanboy commercial for X-Play? Plenty of that were on the same level as this woman's whining. But here's the thing. They took that and made it entertainment. I'll admit some of it is pretty pitiful now that I've grown up, but some was still good, like the Darth Star Wars fanboy. Hey, people don't like that we're recently giving Star Wars games low scores, so why not make a fun skit about fighting one of them with lightsabers and following up on it years later in a special Star Wars theme episode? See the difference? Your enjoyment for those could vary, but they weren't just whining in front of camera, well, outside of the anime fanboy crap. They made something out of it, and I always give it some props over, well, this.
Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you.
Hey, she cooking, y'all.
And that's just obvious sexism. You don't need to explicitly objectify women or declare that you hate women to be sexist. Just go ahead and check out Thorne's latest meltdown on Twitter for some spark notes.
Okay, this definitely shows that you weren't watching the majority of G4. As everyone would point out, Olivia Munn was there to be eye candy, to draw in male eyes with all the sexual suggested acts, bikini and cosplay wearing, etc, etc. The fact that I can look at a handful of videos talking about this, and each one of them have different clips of G4 exploiting Olivia, says something. Hell, this video I found about Olivia's sexiest moments were made by G4 themselves. And going to the other side, yeah, hosts like Morgan Webb and Kristen Holt, or Adams as she is now, weren't as exploited as Olivia. But as the years went, they were more dolled up and slowly went into the whole stand around, look pretty, and say your line types of hosts with any fun, let's hang out personality the two, mainly Holt, showed before or were given from the writing had gone to the wayside. And the goal, to throw the objectifications of the hosts and women as the audience fault when G4 had shows like Video Game Vixens, a beauty pageant show for video game characters, Cinematech Nocturnal Emissions, international sexy ladies using skimpy booth babes at conventions, and again everything with Olivia Munn or the obsessive love for Morgan Webb part of the commercial. Hell, even hiring a Playboy Playmate as a host on Attack of the Show. That and probably more all show that G4 was a company all about the sex sells marketing. And now I'm not trying to be on a soapbox trying to denounce it and say that's all bad. There's nothing wrong with it if everyone is consent about it and everyone's getting paid for it. But sweeping it under the rug and trying to ignore the past doesn't look good. Certainly when you are as damn near upfront about it like G4 was in the past. The next bit is about Frosk talking about how they have a team of people playing and writing the reviews with some contributions on the host's part. So just her saying that she is a talking head, and this is the same as something like IGN or GameSpot. Don't get me wrong, this is how OG X players write, and I'm kind of fine with this, but it's something you shouldn't boast or bring up here, or anywhere really. We already live in a day and age where gaming journalism is a joke, with people that obviously don't care about playing games before reviewing them. So best not to say, hey, I'm just reading off a random person's thoughts on the game. This partly feels like a subtle passing the buck move, more so as it goes on. You'll see what I mean. But going back to how OG X-Play was doing this, back then there were more games worth talking about, if not more games in totality compared to now. So the divide and conquer thing made complete sense. The show was mainly reviews with a handful of non-review scripts. It was when they hit some dead weeks where there were more previews and skits, getting as much segments as the actual reviews. As the show went on, it was the same, and hell, looking at the gaming climate, it shows why that was the case. I mean, how many E3s, Nintendo Directs, or whatever feel lacking or empty, or mostly just trying to promote what's coming far in the future except for what's coming more recently? How much more common it is to say that the Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo consoles have no games or are just squeezing out titles. In 2005 alone, we had games like Tekken 5, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Our World Stranger's Wrath, NBA Street V3, Psychonauts, Shadow of the Colossus, Guitar Hero, God of War, and Resident Evil 4 releasing among plenty of re-releases and ports like Ninja Gaiden Black, Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, and San Andreas on the Xbox and PC. How many years has it been since we had a lineup like that throughout the given year? But don't worry, they're hard at work reviewing games like God of War 4 and Mass Effect Andromeda.
Not to say that Gerard, TBH, Adam were my...
What we see here is one person's reaction to this video, and another reason why I feel so sorry for Gerard.
That's why we're X-Play and not Adam-Play. We have done the experiment and controlled for the variable.
And here we have the other kind of reaction. Literally clapping like a seal to nearly anything this woman says. Way to go, Adam. Glad you have the look of not giving a shit as you do it as well. Really shows that you're behind her in the laziest way possible.
Adam will read a script written by the same writer that I will read the other half of the script for, but I'll be the one flamed. And yeah, it also happens to Gerard and TBH, but that doesn't discount the sexism of how it happens to me when it does. Both things can be true, that there is a general hatred of any change that isn't Adam, and that I'll receive special flame just for being a woman.
You know, if I ever said something that stupid, I would shave my ass and shoot myself.
I'm really sorry about subjecting you all to this with barely any interruptions, but I feel like you all need to hear that for better context for this part. And I guess the black guy is called TBH. So you see why I feel like the whole explaining being a talking head was an excuse? So you read the same scripts and you may get more criticisms. Well, if your part of the script contains the worst part of it, yeah, that'll happen. Maybe what you read has the areas where many highly disagree with. So of course you'll get the flack, because as a talking head, you get all the responsibility on the product. Many singers or bands will get the praise or hate for the song, even if someone else wrote it for them. Todd Howard is a focal point of the fans' disappointment and then some on anything bad relating to Bethesda. It's been done with Stan Lee for Marvel Comics, Masahiro Sakurai for Smash Brothers, you name it. People use that one standout person for, again, praise or hate. That's why Disney or IGN as a whole gets called out for a fuck-up. But if your argument isn't bad, your performance could be the case. There's a reason why Blair, whatever, was called a tool. Because he didn't stand out, was just generic in a place where the hosts had attention-grabbing personalities. At least before that point, but that goodwill gave them the benefit of the doubt. Frosk and TBH seem pretty generic, pretty replaceable. Adam is a nostalgic hook and been doing this for a long time. Same with Gerard on the second part. From this rant, I wouldn't think she's better on the mic when doing a review. And with how she says this, it's almost like she is blatantly saying that it's sexist to give a criticism, even if Gerard and TBH is also getting criticism. Frosk will get special flaming for being a woman. Yep. Just like how Gerard will get special flaming targeting on being the most chunky of the group and looking like he has a neck beard. TBH will get special flaming targeted on being black, and Adam for being a walking corpse yelling about how people who disagree with them politically should die, even if they're family. And all three of them won't get the insult of being a crybaby when looking like a 12-year-old boy. It's almost like people don't get the same insults if they're not similar. Holy crap! Also, with the whole focusing on people favoring Adam, it's portrayed like she wants the same biased love from the fans that Adam had out from the gate when this popped up, instead of, building herself up as it goes on, improving herself, proving the doubters wrong by winning them over. But then again, you have to be likable and a good performer to do that, and from this and what I've heard, that's not the case. Oh, and FYI, from many sources, this whole thing was caused by her spreading false information or just having disagreeable opinions that could be seen as part of the already toxic console wars, mainly targeted at Sony. One of my pony salt dealers opened my eyes to that one. Here are some examples. Sony is a dead man walking after listing that Xbox has Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. Look, I have an Xbox, and I haven't cared about for PlayStation after the PlayStation 2, but for fuck's sakes, lady. As well as constant bad takes and misinformation and regional bias in the League of Legends community as a commentator, which led her for being removed from said community. So in short, this is a case of Ghostbusters 2016. Get criticism and then make it all about sexism, because that worked out so well for that movie that it lost $70 million, and that the director whined that his movie didn't make it to the latest box set collection until they slapped a piece of paper inside the set for it to be a digital release. It's so funny that she's complaining about getting flagged for what she reads off a script, but what caused all of this came from something that seemingly didn't came from one. Deflection at its finest. After this, she starts saying that there's women in the writing staff, I don't know where that comes from, and she's listing people behind the scenes, I guess getting more targets for the angry fans, and people she'll suddenly throw under the bus. She pretty much repeats what she already said before in a little summary. Throw in the dumb free content edition people use when they don't really have that much of an argument for their bad internet content, and the don't like it, don't watch it mentality, as if that was a mic drop, because that hasn't happened in years and led to so many financial problems from the side that said it. Then we see how this new G4 dies, with 8 people applauding.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace!
Hey, I gotta drop you off.
Well, Frisk, I didn't watch this because I didn't really care. But I did hope for the best for everyone besides Adam on this little journey. Now, I don't like it, my apathy is stronger, and I will have no shock when it falls with the hope that only one person gets away with this with the least amount of damage. Great that she said she wants people to gain some self-reflection when she doesn't have any, and most likely won't have any after this.
It's like the groundless sophomoric conjecture and proclamations presented by delusional posters have come to life.
Thank God no one's going to watch this crap, because this guy's an asshole.
The word of the day, again, is deflection. If you get criticized for one thing, turn it around into another, an extreme one at that. And the title of this video is a lie. This isn't about treatment of women in gaming, barely about the women in G4 or the new. It's about treatment of her. And that's it. People don't like you as much as the main guy who was the host of the original iteration? You know, the nostalgia bait? All while people are calling you out on your shit? Just whine and cry and try to act secure while sounding like one of the most insecure people on the planet. Fuck, did you take lessons from the WWE? I highly doubt she would care as much if Gerard or TBH got this much flack. It's really fucking pathetic. Well, one thing is for certain here. Don't like it, don't watch it, proved to be good advice. After all, it worked the first time with G4.